Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Invincible podcast, your weekly podcast with myself, Marty, the host. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, please hit the like button, and please drop your comments in the comments section. Now, I am here, as always, with a guest that needs no or very little introduction. This man has been jet 2'd. This man is the judge, the jury, the executioner, the man that brings the gavel down, and certainly a man that you don't want to get on the wrong end of, because you might get an absolute lambasting on the way home in a minibus. I introduce to you Mr. and he'll certainly give you a nickname or two. I introduce to you Mr. Lee Judges.
Wow, what can I say about that? Like, you know what I mean? I've been jet 2'd. I love it. Like,
Mr. Jet 2, the viral sensation, Lee Judges, flying around the internet like a Boeing 747.
I just want to ask, you know what I mean? Like, you know, to all those Man United fans that were giving it to me that day, how are you today? How are you? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I wish I was going Man United this week. Like,
I think I wish I was going there every week. And I'll tell you what, with Manchester United fans, and the amount of them I've spoken to, and they're worried about the Burnley game, how things have changed.
What a great day that was yesterday.
It was, and we're going to get onto that in a second. But also, today is a very special day because Mr. Lee Judges, it is your birthday.
It is my birthday.
So, very happy birthday to you.
Much.
And I'll tell you what, you do not look bad for 86, mate. I would have...
You wait till I get in that. You wait till I get in that van on Saturday.
So, here we go. We've got a nice little birthday surprise.
Look
Production
at that.
have brought this out. Look at this. Here we go. Happy birthday, mate.
Thank you very much. That is wonderful. What a surprise that is. Thank you very much, like, you know.
Yeah.
And the right amount of candles as well. Well done, like, you know.
Oh, that was close.
You know what I wish for, guys. I can't tell you, but you know what I wish for.
Yeah,
like,
we all know.
Thank you very much.
No, absolute
wonderful. Look at that.
Absolute pleasure. No, honestly,
I'll have a little photo of that later on. Like,
yeah, we will. And happy birthday. I think that should definitely go on the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Lee with his cake and his candles. Have your cake and eat it. But speaking of having your cake and eating it, Manchester United. Let's go back to this because this needs to be spoken about. Okay, when you go to Grimsby Town, Cleethorpes, you know, up there, it was an horrible night. It was hammering it down with rain. Manchester United just did not turn up.
Didn't fancy it.
Listen, that's what happens when you buy Kinder and Bueno from Tesco's, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I say, like, you know, now don't forget, like, you know, let's put it into context with Grimsby. Grimsby were in the National League a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they was in, like, non-league football. And they've got themselves back up, financially in a lot of trouble. But if you do see a Manchester United fan out there, you know, don't mention fishing, don't mention the fish. You know what I mean? Like, because they got battered. That really should have been 3-0, by the way. Should have been 3-0.
Do you know what? They had 2 goals disallowed.
Yeah.
And
one
United,
of them weren't.
Yeah, exactly. United were lucky, I think. Lucky that Bueno got the goal, slight deflection, and I'll tell you what, the only difference really this goes to show is if you're not bringing intensity to a football game, and that's what Premier League is. It's about intensity and fitness. After 75 minutes, you notice that Grimsby Town, they were going man to man. They were all over them. They were 1-to-1. They were in on every challenge. The intensity, and you know, they were fit. But after 75 minutes, the legs started going, and that's due to levels, and obviously that
100%. But like I actually said, I was watching with my brother yesterday, and we both said, like, you know, 2-0. I thought Man United were going to come back. When they equalised for Maguire, you know what I mean? We joked about it and said, oh, that's them through. But wouldn't it be good if they did go out on penalties? Like, but I didn't, you know, I actually thought that Man United would win on penalties. Like, you know what I mean? But credit to Grimsby and credit to Man United to have, you know, like...
Credit to Man U.
No, because like they must have had 5 or 6 penalties where they knew if they missed, they'd lost it, like, you know what I mean? And they kept chugging away. And I thought Onana was going to miss his penalty, like, you know what I mean? Took a decent penalty. But at the end of the day, it was a good penalty shootout, like, a lot of quality. But realistically, I think Onana should have had 3 or 4 of their penalties, and he didn't. He won for 100%.
And do you know what? Listen, this is Manchester United's problem. They've gone and ironed out 200 million quid on a front three, which they just think that's just going to win them. You need to sort your goalkeeper out. You're playing a 3-4-2-1, which is not going to work in any games. You know, Luke Shaw's just an out-and-out left-back. Kobbie Mainoo, was on the pitch last night, but Kobbie Mainoo needs a run in. You can play him in the 6. And you're playing Bruno Fernandes as a 6. You've got... look at. Let's be honest. I mean, it was Breno that missed the penalty. You've got a number 9 that you've spent 76 million quid on. Why was he not taking the first penalty in the penalty shootout? I do not know. Why was he not taking the penalty on Sunday? Listen, if you buy that guy for 25 million quid, put him on the bench, and if he's not ready, but he's not worth it. Listen, when you look at you bought Gyökeres for 58, Gyökeres is taking penalties. I guarantee you in a penalty shootout, he's the first man up there. Yeah. Or the only reason why he would be 4th or 5th is for tactical reasons. Sesko's the 10th penalty taker. You had people like Harry Maguire taking penalties before him. I do not get that.
Yeah, and of course Cunha had the chance to win it for him with the worst penalty of all. And I think he's been a decent signing for him. But listen, I think now that if I'm Man United, I'm getting rid of the manager before they get rid of all their young players. You've got Manu who's not happy. You've got Sancho there that wants out. There's a few players that want out. I think if they got a decent manager in, they could make things happen there. But I look at their team and I just think you can't continue to keep blaming the goalkeeper. I know that it's
no, but you can, Lee. I'm sorry. This happens time and time. Look at against Arsenal. What, that wasn't the goalkeeper's fault?
No,
right?
Different.
And then last night, does David Raya make that mistake? I don't care if it's hammering it down. What, does David Raya make them mistakes last night?
I think I don't know about that. No,
he doesn't.
David Raya would make one of those saves as well.
David Raya wins you that game. Simple as that. And the top goalkeeper will win you 15 points in a season. And David Raya's already won us 3 of them, and potentially on Sunday he could get us another 3. That's 9. Then you've got 9 points, and that's only 3 games in. Top goalkeepers, you see championship winning sides. They all have top goal.
So it's down to the manager, not for rectifying that.
And their sporting director.
Yeah, their midfield looks a little bit unbalanced.
Very unbalanced. Fernandes isn't a 6; he's a 10. And I think they've got a good side there, but from what I look at, they're just set out completely wrong, and it just doesn't work. And Ruben Amorim sat in that dugout with his head in. Looks like he's there playing with his Panini sticker book. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was I tell you that's. Showed me everything about what's wrong with Man United, because at the end of the day their manager was standing up with their coach. They was laughing and joking, whether they were underneath probably a little bit nervous and all that, but they were there showing that he's sitting in the dugout hiding. So what does that tell you? He's got not the faith in his team.
100%.
You want your manager, whether you like it's the same with Arteta, and whether you like him or whether you don't, or Alex Ferguson back in the day, they're always at the forefront of it.
Yeah, I want my manager doing a Lee Judges and going absolutely bananas at everyone.
Exactly. I think. Listen, I've played with managers, in my football that are in it with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Kicking every ball with you, and the passion and everything like that. And that's what you need.
Of course it is.
You know what I mean? You need a manager that's going to not go to war with you, because it's a different thing. But what I'm saying is, if you be there, have your back. Believe in you. You know what I mean? If I'm taking a penalty, I look round, my manager's up there going, go on. Do you know what I mean? Saying to you, put us through to the next round, instead of sitting shying away from it.
And I'm gonna end it on this before this sounds like it's turning into a Man U podcast. It is.
What about mine today,
well, no, I know, because we're just hammering them, but hammering them like hammering. And speaking of hammering, I mean, look. When people spoke about Gyökeres, it's the Portuguese league and, making the transition to the Premier League, I tell you what they were talking about. They thought they were talking about Gyökeres, talking about Amorim. Yeah, because I tell you what, players have done it before. And you look at, where did Cristiano Ronaldo come from?
Exactly. Listen, Fernandez come from there, and he done really
Yeah.
really well. So look, I don't get in it. All I know is with Man United is it's 10 months since they got him as manager, and they are a worse team now than whatever, and I don't see him progressing. When Arteta first came in, it was 8th and 8th, and they used to take the mickey out of us and all that, Man United fans, and are you enjoying 8th and all that? But at least you could see what he was trying to do. I don't see anything what he's trying to do.
And you can see what he's trying to do now. And okay, listen, people, what phase of the process? Well, process ain't going too bad now, is it?
No, and I don't think he'll be there much longer.
Yeah, no. Listen, I really think games. I think he's probably got maybe 5 games. They get dumped out of that FA Cup quick. Obviously, they're not in Europe. They're not going to win the Premier League.
There's another thing I've got to ask a question. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they've got no European football.
Yeah.
Right. Why are you resting
Manchester
players?
United.
Why are they resting
players? Because they've got no League Cup football now.
They've got no midweek games now. Till whenever
they took the FA Cup,
Yeah.
and the thing is with that is you're risking. You play your strongest side. You go and stick that team away because realistically, if I'm the manager of Manchester United, I'm looking at that competition. I'm thinking realistically, this is the only thing we could potentially win this season. So I'm going all out.
They've got no European football. Like they got that. You want games. You've got a squad. You know what I mean? Now, you know what I mean? Like, we've only one game a week.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? I listen, you know, I just don't understand. I understand it if you're playing in Europe, you're going to rest a few players and whatever, like, you know what I mean? Or you're going for it. But when you've got nothing to play for other than, well, they've only got 2 competitions to play for now.
And I tell you, and I'll try and enter on this. What I love seeing, and do you know what that meant, and that will go down in history for the people of Grimsby and Cleethorpes, what that night meant. You see at the end of it, when that ball hits that bar, they all just steamed that pitch and they all run over. And I bet you last night there was mayhem in that town. I bet people were running, like, just so excited with jubilation. They've just had Manchester United, albeit not the best Manchester United side we've ever seen, but they've still beaten Manchester United at home, and it's moved them through to to go on to actually another club that's in huge trouble. That used to be, I remember, and I'm sure you'll remember, Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday now at Hillsborough. Who are in a lot of trouble at the minute, and they used to be, when I grew up watching football, they were always in Division 1. FA Cup semi-finals used to be played at Hillsborough. You know,
massive club and like massive fan base, and of course, you know, not 93 never be forgotten. Like, you know what I mean? Like you know, Grimsby. I remember like Charlie Nicholas hat-trick up there. I think back in the day. So it's not one of the it's a hard-working town and everything like that, you know what I mean? So, ain't even a city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Grimsby town.
Grimsby town.
So, like, you know, so well done, Grimsby.
Yes. Big respect to the people of Grimsby. You know, what a fantastic night. You deserved it, and, you know, you played out of your skin, and I love seeing that, and that's what cup competitions are all about. So moving on to cup competitions, we face the mighty Port Vale away.
A banana skin for us. If we're not going to be up for that, that's what can happen.
Lee,
you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I think they're going to be in for a bad night. I really do.
Well, it's like, you know, they're down the bottom of League One now, aren't they? Like Port Vale.
Exactly.
Like
listen, on the contrary, no disrespect to this Arsenal side that I see now. I'm going to Port Vale, mate.
We'll go there with a strong team.
Listen, I think Max. This is a perfect game for Max Dowman, and we all know what that boy is capable of. And we've got depth. We've got players. Don't forget, we've got, you know. Listen, let's say Kyrgios still here. He'll be playing at the back. I mean, this guy does the business against Real Madrid. Let alone, you know. And I'm not disrespecting Port Vale and saying, you know, or any other team. That's not my style, and we all know that. But you've just got to be realistic. Where Arsenal right now, the depth we've got in numbers. You know, you play. Say you're playing at the back, Lewis Skelly, Kiwior, Ben White as a go. You've got Kepa in goal. It don't really sound to it. Mosquera.
Norgard play midfield.
Norgard. So. It's you know, and then, you know, maybe Odegaard might play, and, you know, Wanyeri. We could, you know, that's you know, a good game. Marino. Max Dowman, Marino. You know, and it's, you know,
it's a serious squad we got there, and that's what you got to go there and and get the job done. But you know, I'd like to have been at home, if I'll be honest. I didn't really like that draw like that yesterday, did you? Like, you know, a European team comes out, has to be away, all that, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's how it was. But at the end of the day, look, it's a stadium that you don't normally go to. You know, I remember us playing there in '99 when Petit scored 2-0 down, ended up winning 4-2, I think. But yeah, so it's something to look forward to on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, you know what I mean?
But look, do you know what? I think these games as well, for Port Vale to have Arsenal come to town, you know, that's going to sell their stadium out, and that's going to be, you know, it'll be a great night for them. And look, if they do get a result, then, you know, again, that's what these cup competitions are about, and makes, you know, football so exciting and so enjoyable.
Yeah, listen, I love all these competitions, and I think, like, you know, like Doncaster, for instance, have got to go to Spurs, you know what I mean? Fantastic for them, like, you know what I mean? Like, the smaller clubs go there. Fantastic for Grimsby, whatever happens, you know what I mean? That's them, you know, financially in a lot better position and everything like. And that is what cup competitions were like a lot back in the day. You couldn't. I remember going to Grimsby in the FA Cup. You couldn't take it for granted, you know, that you was going to win that game. We've been on the end of a few. I remember losing to York. You know what I mean? So, and they're not even in
Wrexham years ago.
Wrexham.
Yeah, we went there. Was it Merson that scored a free kick, was it? And they scored a free kick.
Michael Thomas scored in the last kick of the game.
That's it. You know, these cup competitions, they could be really interesting.
Yeah, so, you know, and that is the thing. You've got to be up for it. You've got to be right mentality. If you're not, they can do. They're all professional teams, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, listen, it's a big game for them. We've got to go up there. I think it's in September after the international break. I think we play Nottingham Forest, and then I think we got that game. So, you know, and I think it's in between Manchester City, is it? Or
yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
you know,
and then
or it could be after Man City. So, depending on the draw.
Newcastle away in that as well.
Yeah, so
that.
Listen, it's a game. You know, I was talking to James yesterday. Like I said, I want to go deep in this, and he said, "What? More than deep, we want to win it."
Yeah, I think
you know,
perfect. I mean, kicking off winning a trophy in February?
Yeah, I think it's a big thing.
Huge. I'm not FA Cup. You know, I remember I've said this loads of times. You know, when I was a kid, you know, the FA Cup final at 3:00, the build-up would start at 12. It was a magical game, and you know, we see what happened with Palace last season. You know, just as a magical moment in football. You know, and then the full circle thing. You know, with Eze, you know, you see what it meant to Eze, and then obviously I think it was kind of my work here is done, and then now he's moving on to Arsenal to go and complete his work.
Yeah, and start winning trophies. We haven't won this cup since 1993, like, you know what I mean? If you'd have said to me, like, in 1993, you'd be like, all these years later not winning, I wouldn't have believed that, like, you know. It's poor, really, you know what I mean, that we haven't. And the reason we haven't won it is because we've not taken it seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think, like, I don't think we're in a position now, Marty, where we can just say, well, we can't take these competitions seriously. I think we have to take these seriously.
Well, yeah,
and win them.
I mean, if you turn around to David Seaman, Andy Linnigan, Tony Adams, you know, and all those guys back in Ray Parlour back in '93, and sort of underestimate and say, you know, and disrespected their achievement, I think they'd be slightly annoyed. I mean, I can see what it meant to them then. It's a legitimate trophy.
Listen, I've had when people, I wasn't fortunate enough to go to Anfield '89. I had a ticket, but I didn't because it changed to the Friday night. I didn't go.
Oh mate! Lee!
I know.
Lee!
So.
What?
One of the biggest mistakes that was, like, you know what I mean?
Wow, that was one of the biggest nights of football, ever.
I chose not to go, which is, you know, for whatever reason. But the next best day for me as a fan, you know, was at White Hart Lane in the League Cup '87, like, you know what I mean, when we won there. So the League Cup's, you know, like, go back, one of the greatest cup finals for me also growing up was you know, the not just a semi-final, because we got Liverpool in the final, Charlie Nicholas getting both goals, my hero, and we ended up winning the League Cup as well. So I've had wonderful moments in the League Cup, like, you know what I mean. So and Arsene Wenger dismissed it and made it. You know, I look at it from that point of view, and it didn't matter when we went out and all. But I remember 2 years ago we played West Ham away.
Yeah.
And we went out, and I come out of there and I said, all right, yeah, I'm not going to be too bothered about it. But I vowed to myself then, and we was walking out of there, I said, I'm not doing this again. Every time we go now, I expect us to be better and win these things, like, instead of just bailing out and going, oh, that's all right. So I expect us to do well in this competition now.
So on that note, just quickly, I know this has just popped into my head, a random question. What's the greatest ever game of football you've watched for Arsenal Football Club? What's your most important?
Greatest one, Spurs away from home. When we won the semi-final 2-1, we was 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go, and then David Rocastle equalised. I'll tell you what, like that day, we'd gone there on the Sunday when it was pouring down with rain. We was 1-0 down in the first leg. They made it 1-0 on the night, 2-0 on aggregate.
Wow.
Viv Anderson and Niall Quinn equalised, pouring down with rain, and we forced it to extra time, and we were the better side. As we're coming out, they flicked a coin to see where it was going to be the next game, back at White Hart Lane again. So you imagine what White Hart Lane, that was when it was like standing, you know, in the stands and things like that, terraces. They score 1-0, Clive Allen, and I can tell you that now, the whole of the White Hart Lane started 10 minutes to go before the end. We're going to Wembley, you're not, like, you know what I mean? And we scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean, like Rocastle. And I'll tell you a little story about like Ian Allison scored the winner.
Right.
And many years later, playing in an FA Cup game, and he was playing for Baldock. I think it was Baldock. And he was playing.
Okay.
And so the game's kicked off, and there was like a bit of a break in play, and I was just standing there. Like, I said, you know, great goal against Spurs. I'll buy you a drink after the game. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, game finishes, like, and we're in the bar, and he walks up to me and says, I'll have that pint now. Like, you know what I mean? So that is a true story, like, you know what I mean? And I happily bought him a drink. And we was talking about it, and he says, like, I will always live off that drink. But how many times people can't say, I'll buy a drink because of that goal, like, you know what I mean? So that was an unbelievable night. Unbelievable. I remember, like,
days when footballers were accessible.
Yeah. So that was back in the day, and I remember me and my mate were on the train station at White Hart Lane. Now we'd have to go back. You know, we're in. I live in Bandit territory, like, you know, back to Cheshunt. So, like, you know, so we gets on the train station at White Hart Lane. We're going back to Cheshunt, and there's like loads of Spurs fans on the thing. You know, scarves. You know, no scarves in those days, just, you know, just in case. And I remember about 6 or 7 Spurs fans were standing right next to us, and they was going, oh, you hate that Arsenal. If I see an Arsenal fan now, I'd kill him. Collar up, like, come on, you gunners. Just a big grin on my face. Like, you know what I mean?
Back in the day, you had CCTV cameras and things were a bit Wild West.
Yeah, it was a bit like the Wild West, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I get it.
So you had to head down and get out of there, like, but
on your toes.
Yeah, it was a fantastic thing. I would say that was, you know what I mean? Like, winning at Wembley, I think you can't beat that.
Yeah.
But, you know, like going to a ground, like, you know, as I say, I didn't go to it. Look, listen, if you was one of the lucky thousands of fans at Anfield, you'd always put that game first. There's no way that.
Yeah. That for me.
That was me with second one. So, like, that would be it, like, you know.
Yeah, 100%. That game, that Anfield game, that 2-0, because you weren't expecting. Liverpool won everything. Then they just it was. You know, they were dominated. Now, I don't think they'd lost for 3 years, and then to go and win there by 2 clear goals was just ridiculous. It was just laughable.
Do you know?
And now the Mickey Thomas thing, like when John Barnes, all he's got to do, mate, and those are back in the days when you can time waste.
Yeah.
You know, you could just take it to goal. You can do all this time wasting, pass it back to your goalkeeper, and then the goalkeeper can pass it back to you, and then you can pass it back to the goalkeeper. All that sort of stuff.
It's like, you know. And it was just an unbelievable. And I'll tell you, like, I've been very, very fortunate to have met Mickey Thomas on a couple of occasions. Wow. And every time I look at, when I see Mickey, I just look at his right foot. I just go, that right foot. I just look at it like, you know what I mean? He goes, what are you doing? I said,
it's that foot, mate.
That's that foot. It just created history, like. You know
did. It did. It changed.
And these boots, if you ever want to go into it, are in the Arsenal Museum.
Yeah. And
like tatty old pair of boots.
Yeah.
That you know, like our football has changed, but that was an unbelievable. So that would have to be the ultimate, like, you know. But listen, you have fantastic times wherever you go, don't you? Like, but
of course you do.
I think beating Spurs is always a nice one.
Of course it does. Right, so moving on to Champions League. So obviously the actual draw hasn't been done
while we're recording.
While we're recording this, so you know, there's potential teams that you know, it's been put out there that Arsenal can face. So out of those teams, who do you want to face and why?
Do you know what? Me and Joe were talking about it. Love to go to Dortmund.
Okay, the Yellow Wall.
Yellow Wall and experience that. Like, so that would be. It's a great place to go. So I always quite like Germany. Germany's a really good place to go. So easy to get to. So that would be one. Barcelona. I'd like to go to Barcelona because it's been done up now. Like, you know what I mean? And
yes.
So like, you know, like I've always. I don't know how a lot of people feel about that, but Barcelona's always been a big disappointment to me.
Hugely.
You know what I mean? So I'd like to go there and see what that's like now it's all been done, because it was a bit tatty and...
Oh, what, you're talking about the stadium? The stadium?
Yeah.
Do you think?
I never liked... The new camp was like a big thing for me.
Okay, so I remember going there. I've been there a few times, and I specifically one time went on a stadium tour. And
that might be different.
I actually thought
when you're an away fan, it's not great.
Yeah, no, I know. It's not because you're you know. I remember there's time it was hammering it down with rain and there's no roof on it.
Yeah, it's not great.
If it happens, no, it's not, and you're up in the gods as well. And it's like that. It's like it's
it's just a lot. The stadium tour, like, you know, probably like that's the thing.
It was fantastic, to be fair. I mean,
like, you know what I mean, like, and it's got the history of it all and all that, like, you know. So I wouldn't mind going back there, especially like early September, like, you know, with a bit of sun. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I've got a beach there at Barcelona, so it's like that's the good thing about Barcelona. It's a beach.
Yeah.
It's a city, but with a beach. You know, you've got the beach area as well, so you get the best of both. So Barcelona's a lovely.
I think we owe them a few as well. That's the thing. I think there's Bayern Munich and Barcelona, which out of those we owe them some. Yeah,
like Bayern Munich, I wouldn't mind going back there again. Like I say, Germany, like Bayern Munich, like, you know, but Real Madrid.
Yeah, they can have it again. They can have it again.
So you know,
I think PSG we owe them.
2 of them away, didn't you? Like, I don't know what. Yeah. So
PSG we owe them and all.
Yeah, PSG. Like, you know, Paris is easy access, easy to get there. It's not the greatest stadium in the world. It's not a great atmosphere there, to be honest.
To be fair, right?
Robbie's out there at the moment, by the way. He's not here.
He is, yeah.
Maybe he's like looking at hotels.
That's why you've got the pleasure of me.
Yeah, like, you know. So we had, like, Joe, I tell you, like, we had nice onion soup in Paris, didn't we? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
it was dead, yeah. So. Do you know what? This is the first time, and I'm not getting too carried away, because we've just had we've just absolutely battered Leeds 5-0. I don't think, I just, from the way in which I see us playing, and obviously now adding Eze to the ranks. This season, this is the first time in 20 years that I have not thought about these situations and been like worried. You know, as an Arsenal fan, like I clearly remember going like Old Trafford and getting beaten 8-2. That was like, you know, like not like it was yesterday. I remember going to Anfield and getting, you know, we went 1-0 up. I think Maitland-Niles scored, and then they battered us 5-1. They just literally tore us a new one. And you know, all of these grounds and all of these places. I remember the 8-2. The Bayern Munich games.
Yeah.
You know, I remember those vividly. I was there. Like they were horrible Arsenal periods to sit through, when you're like, oh, we ain't got a chance. It's not like, you know, other fans say, oh, you ain't got a chance, you're going to get hammered. Like they're saying it now, which I understand in a way, but then they'll say, what did you do between 2011 or whatever, and, you know, in 2020? Well, we're the record FA Cup holders, but that hasn't been our greatest period. We haven't covered ourselves in flowers, but I've always had that fear about, this could go really horribly wrong, or we could get battered here. Going to Chelsea, getting battered 6-1, I think it was. You remember when Oxlade-Chamberlain got sent off instead of Gibbs, that's it. The ref gets it completely wrong. But even that's no excuse. We would just get opened up. And we would get embarrassed at these places, and that's not Arsenal Football Club.
No.
But now, honestly, and look, I could be wrong, and at the end of the season, I'll sit on here, and if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and say I got completely wrong, and we ain't done anything. But my feeling going into all of these games now is, let's do it, let's bring it on.
100%. I remember that 8-2 vividly because it was on my birthday. So
really
on my birthday we lost.
So that was in 2009. That's it, 2009.
28th of August that was.
So that was literally 16 years ago today.
Yeah, like whatever it is today. Yeah, definitely the 28th of August we lost.
I think 16. Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
so that was
happy birthday, Lee.
Thank you for
having
that.
8-2, mate.
And have an 8-2, you know what I mean? So that was
bad.
But wherever we go now, it's like when we go to Liverpool a few years ago. I remember saying to Robbie, what do you reckon? I said, I'll be happy not to get stuffed and all that. And we was,
that's what I mean.
4-0 down at half time, or 3-0, 4-0 down. I believe wherever we go now, and I always say this about Mikel, whatever you want to say about it, I believe come Sunday we can win at Anfield. I can go there and win. Years ago I was just hoping that we weren't going to get humiliated.
This is
That's
my
the
point.
difference now.
This is my point. Do you know what? And I get it. I after that game I saw against Leeds, it wasn't. Yeah, it was the result, but I wasn't. I'm not. People say, Leeds are a championship side. They're not a championship side. They're a Premier League side. Because last time I looked, they were in the Premier League. Last season, they were a championship side. Yeah, I get it. But this season, they're a Premier League side. Legitimately, they've earned their right to be in the Premier League. It'd be like saying Leicester are a Premier League side. No, they're not. They're a championship side because they're in the championship. Arsenal are a Premier League side. So, look, I get that. And I'm not saying that Leeds team is the best team in the Premier League. And look, they could get relegated. You never know. I think West Ham could get relegated this season. I think they're banging trouble. These things happen. And, they had a couple of players out. I get it. But what I saw from the players, okay, look, like the Saka, that's what Saka does. We know that. Obviously, unfortunately, he's out injured now. But what I saw from Gyökeres, down the left-hand side, he picks the ball up and he runs in and he takes it past two defenders like they are not even there, cuts inside, and then he wallops that into the bottom corner, past four players, and the goalkeeper didn't even have a chance to basically move his hand and get anywhere near it. That's something out of nothing. That's what you want from your number 9. Then, what I also want from your number 9 is the guy that he's going to, he didn't take it off of Declan Rice. Deckers was like, here you go, mate. He's like, you're the guy, you're taking the penalties, you're the number 9. Stick it in the bottom corner. He sends the keeper the wrong way, wallop. Have that.
Oh, I love that, by the way.
Mate, do you know what? And I think you'll agree with me here. Like, people say, well, just because, you're a number 9, it doesn't mean you should take penalties. Well, and then people say, he's just a good finisher. Well, yeah, I don't expect him to spray the ball around like Zubimendi. He's a finisher. That's what I want my striker to be, is a finisher. Simple, to put the ball in the back of the net. It's like, what I want from my goalkeeper is to keep clean sheets and keep the ball out the net. I want him to be a good shot stopper. I want him to be good with his feet, and I want him to be good at keeping clean sheets, which is exactly what David Raya does. Very good at it. That's why I think he's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, because he keeps the most clean sheets. That's what it's for, right?
Of course it is. You know what I mean? And I like it that our centre forward says, no, I want to score, make it 2 out of 2 in 2 games. You know what I mean? Listen, it'd be very interesting if Saka and Odegaard were on the pitch. What would have happened? I don't know. But they weren't on the pitch, so it was obviously. I've heard people go, "Oh, Max Downman should be sitting." No, he shouldn't be. Your striker takes it. Get him off and run. Get him as many goals as you possibly can, because at the end of the day, that's what he's there for.
And also, you look at all the top strikers. I'm sorry, you look at all the top number 9s. Van Nistelrooy, your Henrys, your Shearers, your Gary Linekers, they all take the penalties.
Yeah, 100%. And
Haaland,
Haaland, Harry Kane, got so many goals. against Arsenal. No one turns around and says, "Oh, well, 8 of them were penalties or whatever." Like, no one cares about that. Like, it's 8 goals.
Mate, if my striker scores 45 penalties in a season, do you think I care?
Yeah, no.
That's 45 goals.
Yeah.
I don't. They're goals, or whether we score 40 set pieces. It doesn't bother me. Like, as long as the ball goes in the back of the net and we win games and we get points, that's how you win
That
titles.
is what it's all about.
Like this season, we've already scored 3 set pieces. What, do you think I have a problem with that?
No, well, a lot of other teams, other people do, but I don't.
And hopefully Liverpool will on Sunday.
Yeah, well, listen, I think, going on to the Liverpool game, I watched the game against Newcastle. Newcastle's 2 goals come from set pieces.
Yeah.
And they looked a bit vulnerable at it. Like. So, Arsenal, hopefully can exploit that.
If we go there and we win 3-0 and they're 3 set pieces, or two corners and a penalty,
I'll bite your hand up, right? Yeah.
Oh, they not. It's 3-0. And the 3 points and winning at Anfield. I don't care how it's done, as long as the result is achieved.
I think it could come down to that. I think that, they're a very, very good side. It's going to be a very, very tight sort of game. It could be a set piece that wins us that game.
So what do you think about this? Going into this clash, let's talk about this. We've got the weekend coming up. We've got, it's Super Sunday. And by the way, guys, AFTV have got a watch along at Box Park in Shoreditch. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be live. And if you guys have watched these watch alongs in Box Park before, they are just chaotic. This is a great, they're nuts. The atmosphere in there's live. You've got loads of people that are up for it, and obviously the game itself is, for me, this when you talk about Super Sunday, this game is like one of the most intriguing games to watch this season, because it's like the pure acid test of how good this Arsenal side is right now. Take them to Anfield. Go to Anfield. Go to St James's Park. Go to the Etihad. Go to these places. Why? And let's test this. Go to the Bernabeu. Go to Camp Nou. Let's see what this team is about. Let's see how good they are.
Yeah, I imagine I'd like to do one of those Box Parks things.
Lee, they're nuts, mate. Nuts, absolutely. Have you not done one?
Nah, because obviously I'm at the game, and so I don't get to go to them. But I see them, the clips and all that. So whoever goes there have a good time. But obviously when the Box Parks are involved, it's a big game. You know what I mean? So, and it is a massive game. I think that, if I'd be really honestly looking at it, it's a good time to take on Liverpool. I do early season. I think they're not quite at it yet. The Wirtz one's not quite worked. Their midfield's not quite as solid as it was last season because of that. Got a couple of injuries in the fullback area in particular, and they're just not quite at it at the moment because of those sort of factors. Don't get me wrong though, they still score goals, so we're gonna have to be at our very, very best defensively, and this is when, for me, our defence, there's a lot of talk about Arsenal are the best defence in the Premier League, and that they've got to go and prove it on Sunday.
They have.
They've got to go and prove it. We've got to go and prove that Declan Rice and Zubimendi are 2 of the best midfield players in the country and in the Premier League. And also up front, this is the time for the likes of Madueke to really shine. That's the reason.
100%.
The reason he's been bought here is for these.
It's for this. This is why we've bought him in.
This is why we bought him. I don't want to be coming out of that game on Sunday going, we missed Saka.
Yeah. I want to be like, wow. Yeah.
Wow. That's what I want to do.
Let's go into this back line. I think let's talk about that quickly. Obviously, David Raya in goal. You've got 2 top goalkeepers. You've got Alisson. You've got David Raya. For me, David Raya has been the best goalkeeper, and I know this is going to be a controversial opinion, but I'm going to explain it why. He won the Golden Glove for the last 2 seasons, and again, you win the Golden Glove, keeping the most clean sheets. And someone said to me the other day, said, "Oh no, well, Alisson and combined with the life of me remember the other goalkeeper. Actually, to be fair, his name's just slipped my mind. Whether it was between them, David Raya's kept more clean sheets. That's why he won the Golden Glove. He's a better goalkeeper in that respect. And again, that's what I want my goalkeeper, to not let in goals and keep clean sheets. So having that, then the back 4, there's no, Frimpong compared to Yuri and Timber, there is absolutely no comparison whatsoever. Yuri and Timber is, without doubt, the best right back in the league. Factually, this guy is an absolute machine. And then you've got Konate. I'm not even gonna compare Konate to Gabriel, because that's just another completely ridiculous comparison. But then you've got Van Dijk and Saliba. Now, Saliba's like Van Dijk 3 years ago, best defender in the world, hands down, without a doubt, best defender in the world. I don't care what anyone says at Van Dijk. And listen, Van Dijk is still a top level, but I just think he's lost half a yard.
Well, listen, everybody would put in Saliba and Van Dijk, and that leaves out Gabriel. But I wouldn't swap my two central defenders for
anyone. I wouldn't either.
Not for anyone, and that's Van Dijk and whatever, you know what I mean. And if you're a Liverpool fan, you're not going to swap their defenders for. I get that, you know what I mean. But Van Dijk still got it, still class and all that. But one's 34 and one's 24. This is it, and we all know as football players, when you get over 30, especially 33, that's when you get into you do lose its father time. It catches up on every man. Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
Listen, some players can go, and I think Van Dijk's one of those players that could probably go on quite deep into his 30s because of the way he plays. He doesn't actually rely on his pace.
No, he doesn't.
He's got
very smart. He's a very smart
defender.
He reads the game.
I look at some players, and I'm not mentioning names that if they didn't have pace wouldn't be central defenders.
Go on. No, mention names.
Yeah, I will do. The Spurs one.
Yeah, go on. Romero.
No, the other one.
Van der Ven.
Van der Ven. I think he's if he didn't have his pace.
I think Romero personally. I keep him at Tottenham. I don't rate him at all.
I think Van der Ven's one of those defenders that once his pace goes, he'll get caught out a lot.
Yeah,
I think he relies on it too much. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you've got pace, rely on it. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I think that Van Dijk, Rio Ferdinand was another one that had pace but didn't rely on it.
Yeah, he had, mate. Rio Ferdinand had mad pace, mad pace, but
it was a
very intelligent football player.
Yeah, and that's what
like Van Dijk, very smart,
very intelligent,
reads the game very well. Knows, that it's that like half that inch where you read the ball, you read the flight of the ball, and you just get that extra bit on your player. You get in front of them, and that's how he wins everything.
Yeah, and another one that I would say never relied on his pace was Martin Keown, was a player that could.
Yeah, definitely.
Tony Adams didn't have great pace.
No,
he
wasn't
a slouch, but he wasn't. But read the game really well. I think Van Dijk's up there. I think one of the best central defenders that I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely. I completely rate that, and I completely rate. But then when I look at our midfield three with Zubimendi, who was going to go to Liverpool as well, but they couldn't get him, couldn't quite get the deal done. Declan Rice, who I don't care, I'm not having anyone.
No,
there's no competition. There is no competition. The only one is Szoboszlai in that number 10 role, who is a...
Yeah, they've got a decent... Listen, again, there's not a lot between the midfields, in my opinion. I think that there are Arsenal and Liverpool, like defensively, goalkeeper, midfield. You can argue there's debate. The reason that Liverpool won the league last season and were far better than us is what they had up top.
Yeah,
now
definitely.
We've addressed that a little bit, you know what I mean. So where it was close from the back, midfield, up front, you know what I mean, no comparison. We've brought that back a little bit, you know what I mean. In my opinion, that's why I fancy us on.
And just picking up on what you said about Florian Wirtz a little while ago, like he was a big signing, big money signing. He just doesn't look. When you're spending that sort of money on a player, you want that player to hit the ground running, right?
Well, of course you do, but that don't always happen.
Does it? And this is, I think, this is a classic example.
Yeah, classic example of it. It will do because he's a top quality player. He's got to get used to the league, the players. Then also the players have got to get used to him. Ideally, when you're playing against 10 men, you don't want to be taking him off, but they felt that they had to. So, I don't think that people realise the physicality of the league, the pace of the league, and everything like that is going to be difficult for him to get. So I do feel like 6, 7, 8 games down the line, you're going to see a different Wirtz. But at this moment in time, that's why I think it's a good time to play them.
Yeah,
because they're going to get better. You know what I mean. So it'll be interesting. For us, is Odegaard fit? Obviously we know Saka's out. That's a massive blow losing Saka, by the way. Massive blow.
It is, Lee, right? 100%. Saka is that player that will change a game.
100%.
Like a match winner. And I'm not just, but you know what, right? And this is crazy. And like, it might, people say, oh, it's a delusional way of thinking, and I get all of it. But regardless of that injury, I'm still going there. I'm not like, we're going to miss him. You're going to miss him in any team. But with Eze and Gyökeres, they're two guys there that could finish this game off for us.
100%.
And the set piece with Declan Rice and just these players, this is the depth. And
that Marty, I couldn't, you know what I mean, you're dead right. Like, listen, we all want Saka there, but it's not the end of the world like it wasn't
last season. Last season it was the end of the world. Or the season 4, and I'm saying like literally like we ain't got a chance here. Like we're going to Anfield. How are we going to do anything? But do you know? And also, what a great way for Noni to announce his way to the Arsenal fans is to be played on the right hand side, and he goes and sticks a ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and for me, it's also now is that you're here now for this specific reason. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to be rushing. If you look back at last season, it was around about this time last season on the international break that Saka got the hamstring injury, rushed back, and eventually it's caused a problem. Like I want to be in there where I'm saying to Saka now, like, if it's 3 weeks, well, we'll make it 4 or 5.
If it's 4, let's make it 5 or 6.
Yeah, but so you're 100% fit when you come back, not being rushed back, like, And I think even last season he was rushed back. Of
course, he was rushed back because you needed him for those games. Yeah. Right? This is the thing. He was rushed back, and this is why we are now getting a reoccurrence of the injury.
I believe that.
I think personally that whether it's Havertz rushed himself back because he knew that Gyökeres was he knew what was happening. I think he's rushed himself. Look, he's put pressure because he knew he had to.
Well, even last season he come back when he shouldn't have done.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're seeing a situation. But this is what happens if you don't let the injuries heal and you don't play them out. This is what happened with Wenger, with Wilshere. It was like rushing him back, and that's why he spent a lot of his lot of his career, even Diaby. Yeah. After that horror tackle. Yeah, we've spoken about this before, but then. It was we didn't have the depth then. We didn't have the depth because
that's the thing where we got it.
Because look, it's taken £1 billion to get this team together. That's what it costs today in today's world football to get that team together. Chelsea managed to do it. They done it in 2 seasons or whatever. Went and spent £1 billion on players. And look, I'll be honest with you, Chelsea. When I look at them, I generally think this season it's going to be between Arsenal and Chelsea. I really do. When I look at that Chelsea side, I know it's a big
not Liverpool.
Honestly, no disrespect to Liverpool. I respect Liverpool as a huge club. I really do. Like I do Manchester United. We had a laugh and joke about them earlier. Like again, it's the banter with the what have you. But I do. I think Chelsea are going to surprise a lot of people this season. They've got Enzo's managed to get them working in. They've just won the Club World Cup. I thought that could have been a bit of a hangover, but I think they've got a very good squad. I think they've got very good players. João Pedro up front is a finisher, and what a bite. Another Brighton player. Where do Brighton find these players from? You've got McAllister, Trossard, Ben White, João Pedro, Matoma. Like, where do they get these players from?
Unbelievable.
Their recruitment. I mean, we need
Caicedo.
Caicedo. We need to go and hijack. That guy. That guy needs hijacking.
That is an unbelievable. I think Chelsea will be there. I think Liverpool definitely be there. But listen, it's a massive game Sunday. I just think the one thing for me is I'm not going there without our best player thinking, oh no. I think come on, Noni.
Yeah,
step up.
Come on, and for Eze as well, this could be the full circle. He comes on. What a dream return to
massive game
Arsenal.
for him to start if he does start. Massive game if he comes on.
I think he starts.
You think he starts?
I cannot see why he's done his pre-season with Palace. Yeah. He's played for Palace. He played against Chelsea. He's ready to rock and roll. The only reason why I didn't play on Saturday is because he wasn't registered in time. The guy, and listen, if Odegaard's out, Well,
Yeah, if Odegaard's out,
that's his position. He's straight in there. Even if Odegaard's in, you stick him on the left. Like you don't pay 68 million quid for a player to leave him sat on a bench.
Is it a bit? For me, I'd still play Martinelli in this game because we need that bit of extra pace. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that's right, and he's always done well against Liverpool.
Yeah,
so,
he has. No, mate, you're right, mate. Yeah, I do. In that number 9 position potentially.
Yeah, but that's the thing I think with Martinelli. I think like he is at this moment in time going to be not replacing. Like it's going to be like the backup for Gyökeres. So like 70 minutes. Fresh Martinelli coming on with pace to it on the counter, especially if we're 1-0 up, would be a brilliant bonus. So I don't know what they're going to do, but you know, I think at some stage, whether it be from the start or at the finish, we will see our man Eze.
Brilliant. Well, look, Lee, I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you very much for being here and having me today on your birthday as well. Once again,
you're more than welcome.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy the trip up to Anfield and enjoy the game, and hopefully on the way back, you know,
it'll be even better.
On the bus on the way home, you're not going to hammer me too much.
No, definitely not like that.
Hopefully, it's going to be a different journey home this time. And obviously, guys, I will be hosting the watch along at Box Park in Shoreditch. Please get in touch with AFTV if you want to attend for tickets or whatever, anything like that. And please tune in, check it out. It's going to be a blast. 1, it's going to be a great game. 2, it's going to be a vibe in there. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Check out content. I think Lee's got some match previews coming up. Check out all of Robbie's daily AFTV content, and please check out all the relevant match content, all the fan cams afterwards. They're going to be, listen, we know about the fan cams, we know what they bring. Please please comment, leave your comments. Please wish the judge, please wish him a happy birthday in the comments. He deserves it after being jet 2'd and going viral. Thank you very much. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We want to try and get this to 2 million. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Marty. This has been AFTV. Over and out.
The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.